Here comes the West Indies. And when you're facing the generals, nearly every ball is a funeral. And when we battle, brother, go and put your men on the boundary line. And if you give we a liquor, that is merely a hiccup. Look, you win the little battle, you lose the war. It's the same result every time. Everybody sing. Here comes the West Indies. Here comes the West Indies. Them rude boys gonna get you by degrees. Here comes the West Indies. I tell you now, here comes the West Indies. Here comes the West Indies. Them bad boys gonna bring you to your knees. Here comes the West Indies. Special request to the Trini posse. And what about the Guyana posse? And what about the Jamaica posse?
Very delicate leg lance by Canai, beautifully turned round. West Indies captain moving on there to 42.
What a great stroke. That's a real Compton Cowdery style sweep. A beautiful piece of play there. Illingworth now bowling to Rowan Canai. And there it is. That is Rowan Canai's 6,000th run in Test cricket. Playing in his 74th Test match here at Lord's. And the only others ever to achieve this great feat: Sobers, Cowdery, Hammond, Bradman, Hutton, Barrington and Harvey. That's a great shot. Greg just isn't fast enough to bowl bounces on a good batting pitch. Canai didn't bother hooking that behind square. He just slashed it away through mid-wicket. Oh, and a misfield will give Canai his 100. Luckhurst, the offender. Canai goes to 100. A fine innings by the West Indian captain. Underwood again, and well, I think starting off to go the wrong way, Underwood. No chance to get the right hand to it. At 4 really from the moment it left the bat. As long as no fieldsman could get across to it. Again, it's the timing. No ball call by umpire Bird. And again now, Greg to Canai. And there's another boundary. Tony Gregg really taking a hammering out there today. Now Willis is ready to bowl, and Canai to bat. And steady fire in that one as well. No respect there for teammates. The 150 for Rowan Canai. And that takes him to his highest ever Test score against England. What a lovely stroke to do it with. So it's to be Bob Willis now bowling from the nursery end, and he's to bowl to Canai. He's got him. It's a good catch by Tony Gregg, going away to his right there, and a good delivery from Willis, who has just picked himself up another little victim, and what a good one from England's point of view. Rowan Canai caught Gregg, bowled Willis for 157. And the pavilion and everyone around the ground rising to Canai. It was a marvellous innings.
And good evening to you and welcome to West Indies Cricket 101 Sunday evening. And we're coming on later when a lot of people seem to be prepared for the program. We came in there with that little clip from Ron. Can I remember where I was in 1973? We were on those days, you call it a tour. We used to go on these 1 week tour, and we were in Charity. The first time I went to the Pomeroon, we were, I think, in second or third form, and organized, and we were on tour. And I remember we had to be going down the Pomeroon River to see the Pomeroon River. And Kanai was batting that day. I think Sobers, I think, made 150 in that same match. And we decided, no Pomeroon River, we're going to stay near to that radio. I remember that Kanai was going out at that time. That 1973 tour, 3-match tour to England. Ron Kanai, small boy, you grow up and you hear Prior Jonas talking about Rohan Kanai on a Sunday night. And Fred Wills used to do something, and Kanai was about to be named captain. And Fred Wills said, the next West Indies captain, Rohan Babulal Kanai. And you go to school the next day and you're repeating Fred Wills, Rohan Babulal Kanai. There was always something about the mystery about Kanai. Something about that name and the personality. And I have watched videos of Kanai. So I think I saw him once live. Might have been the 74 tour. But watch videos, and I'm convinced that he is one of the greats. I rate him a notch above Sobers as a batsman. Oh, that's very hard to sell. But for someone who was a stroke maker and didn't put a big price on his wicket, like say a Lara or so, he's averaging 47, and I think that's testimony to sheer batsmanship and skill. So we want to talk. I mean, because somebody raised the question with me earlier, whether something should be done for Kanai in Guyana. I know there used to be the Rohan Kanai stand at Border, but you know, there's a street named after Clive Lloyd, after Chandapal, and you feel as if something more could be done for Kanai. Kanai, of course, when you talk about Kanai, you have to talk about him in the same breath of Butcher and Solomon and I think Ivan Madre, I understand, was part of that school. And nothing. There might be. I'll have to find out from Basil whether they've named something in Linden after his father. But Kanai, Solomon, Butcher, they're really the pioneers of what we call modern Guyanese batsmanship. And although the focus is in Kanai, it occurred to me that not much has been done for those pioneers of our batsmanship. I mean, the 3 Ws are heralded in Barbados. Sobers, of course, is one of the national heroes. I feel like I agree that something should be named after Kanai, something that is prominent. And while we're at it, although they weren't the 3 Ws, they were the 3 pioneers. I mean, you know, as I said, Butcher, Kanai, and Solomon, you know, as being the pioneers of our modern batsmanship. We'll talk to Basil Butcher Jr. and Dr. Vincent Adams about that. And then we'll do a review of the just concluded 2-match series against South Africa. and we have I think it's three T20s coming up. Up to 3 hours ago, the team was not announced. And I wonder what is the hold up there. I noticed Reds Pereira also in a post asking about the T20 team, the T20 squad. So there we are. We'd like to welcome all of you, and we're ready to go. Let's bring in our guests, Basil Jr., Dr. Vincent Adams. Dr. Adams, you would have played alongside Kanai. Um, you would have played against him. I'm sure. Yeah, I know Kanai would come down and play for Everest when he was in the country, and
It
so
used
you
to be East Indian. It used to be East Indian Cricket Club at that time.
at that time, but you played with him, you played against him. Tell us something about the quality of his batsmanship.
Hey, Basil know that Rohan is, I think, in just a natural player. I mean, you could never argue against Gary Sobers, but Rohan to me was even ahead of his time in the things that he did. Some, like that reverse, what we call it, a paddle sweep, where you just paddle backwards. He started that, the sweep shot. He did some things that when you look back now, and he was the only one who was playing certain shots, and he was just a natural. The difference between him and Gary was more sound in terms of making big runs. Rohan, Basil probably know how many times Rohan even got out in the 90s. You don't get Gary outing in the 90s. And so, and that Lara too. Lara is a gifted player, but Lara goes on to make big scores. Rohan was not that type of player. He's very cavalier, of course. And of course, for a lot of the times that he played during his time that he played, for the most part, he was opening batting because you had Conrad Hunt and somebody else, and by the time Ryan come in at number 3, there's no runs on the tin, but he played his shots, but he was one of the most gifted players that I've ever seen. But you can't argue against Gary Sobers as, to me, the greatest batsman that the West Indies had ever produced. Well, I hadn't seen George Headley. I always put George Headley as number 1, just based on when he played and the conditions he played under. But but Gary Sobers, of all the batsmen that I've seen, Gary was it. But Ron is without question, one of the most naturally gifted batsmen that I've ever seen.
And Doc, when I was a young boy, I started following cricket at the end of the 60s. And I remember the first time I really followed a full test series was the 71 series against India. I'd been introduced on the 69 Australia tour, the last tour for people like Norris and Butch. I was a small boy and I was just getting to understand. I was about 9 years at the time. But by the time the Indians came, I'd understood the game and everything. And the first time I heard the term stroke maker being used, it was on Ron Kanai. And they were saying that Kali Charan, who came in 1972 against Ian Rowe, came in. You then hear or the term stroke maker being used to describe them. But I distinctly remember hearing on that 69 tour of Australia and then the rest of the world. People forgot that Kanai played in that rest of the world team that so was made 254. That Kanai played there and he made quite a bit of runs. And I heard Sadan, who I think was commentating or a commentsman or something, referring to Kanai as a stroke maker. Now, as a 9-10-year-old, you couldn't make out the difference. I didn't know what's the difference between a stroke player and a stroke maker. But I understood that there was a difference. And so talk about him as a stroke maker.
Yeah, and that's what
part of what you were saying there just now.
Yeah, exactly. He did some things that that nobody else did. And I remember distinctly that, that paddle sweep. They don't play it anymore, but you just paddle, you sweep it. What you do, you stand directly and you hit it back like straight past the wicket keeper. And there were some people played it. I remember Roy Fredericks used to play it, and all of us, of course, used to play that. I remember Basil. I know that Basil has heard this from our compatriot, the late Vincent Mears, who played also for Guyana. And Vincent Mears does give a commentary that when Rohan made his 256 against Pakistan, you should hear Vincent. Vincent said it was by Barry Sabadikat. I don't know, he was a commentator.
Yeah.
Vincent would say, Barry Sabadikat said, Jesus Lord, what kind thing this? Rohan Kanai has now made his 256 run and not a ball has touched his pad. Nah, he was a great. He was a great. And even Basil, I'm sure Basil heard a conversation that his father used to talk about Rohan when they were growing up. He was a the man used to, he was a Burudi when it comes to batting. When they're playing for the little thing in Port Miranda, he went for bat whole day. But no, he was a great. I always put him as my just natural play, and I like him. But again, Gary is just in a class by himself.
Yeah, of course, Basil, you smiled when I said I thought Rohan was a teeny bit better than Gary, and I noticed you smile. But anyhow, Basil Rohan Babul Al Kanai, put him in context, and where he stands in that whole long list of great West Indian batsmen.
I think oftentimes when we look at players at the end of their careers and we look at stats, we look at the average, and because we have had this this debate regarding Sobers, Kanai is a long-standing debate. You got those who like Vincent just talked about the late Vincent Mears. Nobody couldn't tell Vincent Mears that Sobers is better than Kanai. In his books, Kanai was the best batsman he ever seen. He always, nobody, because and I guess it's what you're looking for. Mears, he loved the stroke playing. I mean, there's no doubt, Kanai played more strokes than Sobers, right? So for that reason, and Kanai was more elegant than Sobers, right? So for those reasons, Mears, he loved Kanai amongst other things. But in the video you were showing, there was you heard Richie Beno say something. Rohan Kanai has just scored his 6,000th run in Test cricket. And the number of names who had done that before Kanai was a handful of names in the history of Test cricket, right? So it's often when you need to, that is where you put Kanai in proper context. Mm-hmm. Because when he scored 6,000 runs, there were not even 10 other guys in the history of the game had ever done that when he did it. So that puts him in context in terms of an all-time great, irrespective he didn't average 50. And as Vincent said, I know my dad told me, Rohan, he would say Rohan always wanted to play the most difficult shots, right? And that would cause his downfall, because he was, if you want to use the term, he was a cavalier. He was an entertainer. He's going to try to play shots you never seen. He wasn't a guy going to look to push to get 100 with singles, right? So as a result, I think he out about six times in the 90s or a little more than that. And if you put that again in context, he played 79 Test matches. Had he converted, just let's say he converted those hundreds, Kanai would have had 20-something hundreds in 79 Test matches. Viv Richards got 20-something hundreds in 100-and-something Test matches. So again, you put that in context of how great a player Kanai was, and not just simply looking he didn't average 50 runs because he wasn't that kind of player that looking at records and all of that. I watch Kanai, but he was a guy was there to entertain the crowd,
Yeah. And he had two doubles. The 256, I think he had 217 against Pakistan too.
Yeah, so that's on that same tour.
Exactly.
Because, it was funny going into that test match. He made the double because him and my dad, they both made their maiden test centuries in that game. He made the 256. My dad made, I think, 104 or something like that. Because the two of them put on the big partnership. But going into that test match, Gupti had no respect for Kanai. He chased Kanai when he got him out. He's the rabbit, and so on. And then the third test, Kanai catchy, and and the rest is history.
Yeah, you hear, them boys would tell you stories as a youngster, and some things that live in your memory. I remember listening to the game. I'm no Basil. I'm sure you. What year was that when Mersey played in that game when they opened with Mersey?
I think that was like 64 or something like that.
Yes,
somewhere around then.
and
I wasn't born yet.
Oh.
I was born a few months later.
and Wes and Charlie in the prime on that Barbados wicket, and that Barbados wicket is not like it is today. The first time I got to Barbados, I wear Gary Sober's boots, which is the sharp peg, and it was sliding. It was like concrete. Okay, and Charlie and Wes, they carry away the three of them, including Basil Fado. Three for what was it, for like less than double figures. Gone back. And I hear when Rohan was passing, was it Mersey or Harnanan or somebody coming in, he said, you let that shit out. You watch it with me and the two of them today. 100 he put on them that afternoon. 100.
Yeah. And what was
go ahead.
interesting about that game too, because Carlisle Miller played in that game, and one of the things he told us about, Kanai got bowled down on a no ball for duck. Where's all bowled him down on a no ball. And to quote Carlisle, said the Collie fix the kerchief. I remember Kanai used to wear a kerchief.
Yes, right.
He said the Collie fixed the kerchief, and after that, it was blows. And throwing back ball to the captain, they don't want bowl.
Is it surprising that we don't have anything named after Kanai in Guyana?
You know what? Maybe, I'll put it in context. Like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, during his playing days, was never a guy with the press and so on. So he never got press on probably others. And you would say to yourself, how come Kareem never got more opportunities in the NBA, coaching, etc.? He got very few opportunities. And maybe that's probably the same level with Kanai. Kanai was not one of the most friendly people would like to say. He was a hard guy and so on. So that might be one of the reasons. That might be, but notwithstanding that, the stand still is there. The Rohan Kanai stand at GCC, but they don't play international cricket, so is not there. But I the disappointment is that Providence Ground, they still refuse to put names on there. And it would want to be one of the perfect things, as you were calling the three names. They should have a stand with Butcher, Kanai, and Solomon.
Yeah.
Because in the context of Guyana's cricket, those three names are more particularly Butcher and Kanai more, because they went to trials just before Solomon. I think a year before, even though he was older than them. They went to trials before, and they were the ones that broke through, that allowed cricketers from the country areas, not from Georgetown only, showed that they had tremendous players outside of Georgetown, and the gateways open with Walker coming to Guyana and looking after the Sugar State cricket, and you saw players coming from the Sugar State, and the door opened wide as a result of those guys. So in that context, they they should be honored, the three of them, because even my dad told me the story when the 66 independence, Prince Philip was a very keen cricket fan, and Prince Philip had made a special trip by helicopter, him and his wife Queen Elizabeth, to Port Royal Community Center, because Prince Philip said he had to see this place, this little place that produced these three cricketers, right? He had to see it with his own eyes, and my dad was there to greet them when they arrived at the Port Royal Community Center. So yeah, I think one of the stands should be named after them, and then you go around and figure out how you can name the rest.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, we all see that there was a stand at border with Kanai's name, and those three names, Kanai, Butcher, Salomon, it just again they're linked together, they're tied together. There's no look at Greenwich Haynes stand in Barbados.
Exactly.
But on top of that, here we've got a big
and the three W's in Barbados.
And the three W's. But here it is that we've got a big
on the Holland Griffith stand.
Yes.
Holland Griffith stand. We've got a big international cricket facility and stadium in Providence for how many years now? Border is no longer being used. All you got to do is now you've got look at what the rest of the Caribbean has been doing. Look at there's a stadium, Brian Lara Stadium. Look at Richards Stadium,
Sammy Stadium.
Sammy Stadium. Statues. So Gary Sober's got a statue. Viv Richards got one in. So it's just like if we Guyana, there's something we so backward. I don't know if it's envy. I don't know what to call it. Just to recognize our heroes. And there's no question that Basil Butcher Salomon. Then you've got the others such as especially Clive Lloyd.
Yeah.
I know there's a street named after him. There's a street named after land.
I think Vincent, the stadium should be named after Clive Lloyd, in my view. Because
Absolutely,
he's the most decorated cricketer ever could come out of Guyana.
And
to honor the stadium name after him, you could got the two ends, Lance Gibbs and Colin Crawford. One end is Croft, one is Lance
That's
Gibbs.
exactly correct.
And the newer guys like the Chanda Pauls, the Kali Charan, the Fredericks, you could got to stand that era. Then you got the Hooper and Chanda Paul, Sarwan, if you like. Because one of the things would be an education for the young cricketers coming up.
Right.
Because when they look up, they say, who is Butcher, who's Solomon, who's Kanai? God, those are not even names to them, right? So now they got Google, they'll Google and they will see, wait a minute, I didn't know they got such bad men came out of Guyana. Who is Karicharan, who is Fredericks? When they look up and think, these are some bad men, because just like Kanai with 6,000, when both Alvin and Fredo got to 4,000, that was a serious milestone. Again, there were very few people in the history of the game had scored 4,000 runs in a test career. But we look back today and 4,000 coming like nothing because they're playing a whole lot more.
A whole lot, right?
But when you put the context of the time, those were serious achievements.
Yeah.
I remember that talk in the day, but Fredo, he said, there's a chap make 4,000 runs. 4,000 runs was a big deal in those days.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Kanai made 6,000 runs, only Sobers had made
the only West Indian.
Was the only West Indian that made
Indian.
more runs than that. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Gentlemen, the second test match ended in 3 days. The first one went the distance, rain. This one ended in 3 days. West Indies lost by less than 60 runs. The last wicket partnership in the first innings was 60. We can look back and said, had we gotten that, we would have won the test match, but we know that's not how cricket works, right? It's not just extrapolating numbers. In that loss, you had Shamar with a 5-4 in the first innings, Fields with a 6-4 in the second innings. So it seems to me that our bowling was exceptional.
Yes.
Except for that last wicket stand there and so on. What is wrong with West Indies batting?
We don't have good batsmen. That's what's wrong.
No, you're absolutely
I
correct.
was hoping you didn't tell.
Dr. Hyde.
I was hoping you didn't say that,
No.
Basil.
I mean, we have to be realistic. Well, not upset. I'm amused at the vitriol that is thrown at our batters when they don't come true. When all those same people who throw in the vitriol know in their hearts of hearts, we do not have good players. We have guys they're gonna show flashes at different times and so on. But they're not good, because even though they show flashes, look at their first class averages.
That's right.
I mean, that's a barometer to tell you about how good a guy is, right? So I mean, I don't look. And then the 97 for 9. I had to ask guys, wait, other guys never put on partnerships against other good teams in the past?
Exactly.
This is not that's part of the game. We're not playing by ourselves. That you assume because you get 9. That's why you gotta get 10 wickets. Because you get 9 wickets, you mean you bowl it out. So similarly, on the other hand, we was 104 for 9, and Holder and Joseph put on 40 runs. Well, we forget about that 40 runs. That's a good. Now, if South Africa bowl we out, because think about it, if South Africa to take the catch, we would have got bowling for 104, because the first ball Joseph faced, he edged the slip. Now that's a lead of almost 60 runs instead of 16. So now South Africa make 260, 200 and how much? Instead, we might have been chasing closer to 300.
That's right.
I mean, we gotta. But overall, Dr. Hines, they're not good. And it's not an indictment on them, because look at their experience. These are very inexperienced guys. One, coming out of a structure that don't prepare them for the demands of Test cricket. So you put those two things together, this is what you're gonna see. You know, we talked about young Louis. Young Louis looked so. Look in this Test match. Young Louis didn't look so at all. You know, because now, remember, these teams now getting the intel on a player. Now young Louis been around a few games. Now they get to see all young Louis weaknesses, where his strengths and weaknesses are. And these bowlers are good enough to exploit them. I must give our bowlers some great credit, because we did the same to South Africa. Mr. Man, Stubbs.
Yes.
Stubbs, outside of something the channel, Stubbs is weak. And we 3 of the 4 times he got out was our bowlers' ability to exploit that. And that's a good thing to see. Young Seals, how he bowled. You know, Shamar at times in the first inning, Shamar second inning, he was good, decent. You know, he didn't get the wickets and so on. But those are good signs for us, because to compete, first and foremost, we got to get a bowling unit. Because this South Africa team, they're not a great batting team.
No.
But what keeps them in Test matches is because they have a tremendous bowling unit.
Yeah. You know, just to add to what Basil said, you know what? I hear some people saying, blaming the bowlers for allowing that last wicket to put on the 60 runs. I mean, we bowl these people down for 160 runs.
Exactly.
I would take that
Our batsmen should be able to go in and double that.
But here, and let me add to what Basil said. We definitely do not have a good batting team. Here are the numbers. Out of for the last 3 series, we batted 14 times. Okay, 14 times. Now, at any team making 300 is par, especially in the fourth inning. We batted 14 times. You know, to those 14 times, 8 times we made less than 200. Twice we passed 300. Twice we passed 300. 311, I think, and 457
in England.
And we lose with a 457.
Exactly.
So here we are. How do you expect to win any Test match for making less than 260% of your time at the crease. It's impossible. This is Test cricket. Hell, even in Case Cup, you're looking for 250, 300. Hell, I thought this was a Case Cup game. It finished in these games seems to be
In 3
finishing
days.
in 3 days, you know. But so you cannot expect the team, and it's about the positive part again, to add to what Basil said, that I saw was in our bowling. Okay, and especially now we've got a core of bowlers that, because those guys really impressed me with their control in that channel with both Seals and Shamar. Because if you notice, and those South Africans, when you bowl in that channel, I remember Basil Fadi used to say that all he wanted was hit that off stump, hit that off stump. That's all he used to tell his bowlers, and line and length. They were bowling an accurate, not only the line, but the length also was very, very, because when that ball hit there, and you as a batsman, you got to be guessing, should I leave? You don't see that guy left and he get his off some knocked out.
Yeah,
should I leave? Should I? That's not a comfortable area, especially on a pitch like that, where the pitch, where it's seaming. A lot of people do look at swing. Swing is not really is the seam when the ball. Because remember as a batter, in swing, you picking up the swing early, so you got a lot of time. When a ball is seaming, you've got a split second, because you don't know what it's going to do when it hit the toe. So
that's why Vincent, we just say the bowler make you whine, because you see the length, the line, and when the ball moves, you move with the ball, right? So you end up square on, and all you hoping to pray as a batsman, please don't knock the edge.
That's right. So I think that is the positive. If we can get the other Joseph coming back, and now what I think this is gonna do, this here is really hopefully is gonna make him understand, what, I better dig up to keep my place in the team. This is the other Joseph.
Yes.
Because he's not been living up to his potential, to be honest. I know he had an injury and stuff. But if these two guys really put him to the challenge, that really, I've got to work hard, and we would got a hell of a, and then you've got Tarn coming out of Guyana with that development. So I think we're looking at the core of good bowlers, but the problem is, again, it's our batting. I don't know how to develop that batting with these guys. I don't know.
Vincent, I think that whole thing about development of batting, coming back to the whole question about the quality of our pitches, where batters play the shots and so on, playing on low, up and down, slow pitches and so on. It's hard to develop as a batter there. But just to add on to the bowlers, South Africa A is going to come next year, or sometime next year in the spring. And 3 fast bowlers I would like to see play in that thing. The 2 from Guyana, Smith, Tarn, and a guy from Jamaica named OJ Seals. Right? Because all 3 of those guys are genuinely quick bowlers. Right? Smith, in my view, if Smith can get his fitness up to where it should be, because what impresses me about Smith is his ability to produce wicket-taking balls when batsmen are set. And that is an asset. There's a guy like the captain could throw, so a guy set and say, hey, how we getting this wicket?
Like Rabada. That's what Rabada does. That's
and
resort to Rabada.
When you got Boomerang is the same thing.
And Boomerang. Yeah.
So because if these guys could step up, it now puts pressure on Alzari or elsewhere, and it wouldn't be hard to sit Alzari out, because you got 3 other guys in there you feel capable of doing the job. And it would bode well for us, because we all know to have a bowling attack that travels, you got to get pace. And I was so happy they dropped Mr. Roach.
It was a bold decision.
Medium pace bowling.
No,
we got to get pace, right? And we saw in England the other day with Mr. Mark Wood, when Mark Wood, even though those pitches were flat pitches, and Mark Wood bowled it 95 and 97 or wherever he bowled it, you know what I mean? He was hurrying people up. When you got those kinds of bowlers, you travel anywhere and compete.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
You just remember some deliveries that really, give you a really good idea as to how well these guys are bowling. Look, you remember Shamar make the boy fall on top on his face, the captain. You remember that half cutter that
Yeah,
that he got him out with?
he got beaten for pace.
Pace, that was sheer
Pace.
pace, and it
That
came
was
back
pace.
in.
And
That was
the
sheer
sharp
pace.
in swing. And I think for him, he got caught too because the length, the ball was sharp. But
That's
again,
right.
Providence zone bounce.
yeah. Let's talk about Seals.
Yeah.
I have to confess that I've been watching him, but this game, I decided I'm going to watch him more closely than I would normally do. Because he's not as quick as Shamar or Alzari. But there is something about this young man. So I decided to look at him. And I think control. I think he has tremendous control, but you all are the experts.
Line and length.
Dr. Hines, if you recall, Seals came into the team, made his debut. Alzari was in the team, and who got the new ball? Seals. Alzari did not get the new ball. And that's because the captain, the coaches knew Seals could bowl with more control. And and Vincent would tell you this. The last thing you want your opening bowler,
it's to waste a new ball.
Waste a new ball, right? Because people that sometimes say the fastest man, there's some merit to that. But you can't be fast and foolish because the new ball is hard. It does more things than when the ball gets soft. So you want to take as much advantage of that new ball. So therefore, you want bowlers who can be accurate and challenging the batters there. And Seals does that. I think Seals can bowl quicker. I think he can bowl up to 140 if he really wants to. I don't know if he thinks well, that's another thing. Some guy this old time thing about if you bowl fast, you can't bowl accurate, but you gotta be fast and accurate.
No,
Wood was bowling to something and bowling accurate.
I heard him I think after the second day. No, after we bowled out South Africa on the third morning, and he was talking, I think, to one of the commentators, and they talk about his growing partnership with Shamar. And he says that, look, I want to go for 2 or 3 per over and the whole thing and let Shamar express himself. So I think he's thinking roll.
Well, I got a problem with that. I'll be frank.
All right, talk to me.
I'll tell you why. I listened at the end of the test series against England. And that's Chris Broad, Stuart Broad. Chris Broad is the father. Stuart Broad was talking. And they were talking in the context of the English team, the new players, etc., etc. And Stuart Broad told us something about the differences when he played under Strauss versus Stokes. He said Strauss had this obsession that the seamers should not go for more than 2.75 runs and over. He was good if you put pressure and so on. Where he said Stokes was different. Stokes, when Stokes come and give you the ball, the one question Stokes asks you, how are we getting this wicket? Right? So he said that empowered him as a bowler because Stokes was only concerned about how we get in this wicket. So I don't want my man Seals to be thinking 2 or 3. I want Seals to be thinking, how am I getting this wicket, irrespective of Shamar doing in the other side. So that's why I like the positive way how England is playing the cricket. And that's how the positive thinking I want. I would like Seals to have, rather than thinking, I can go at 2 or 3. No, man. How are you outing the guy? How are you getting the guy out?
Look, I don't want to judge, but I think it's good media gaff when he says something like that. Okay, when you're out there as a competitor, you're playing as a team, but trust me, you still got this individual instinct.
It's an
And
individual game within a team setting.
it's to get wickets. You're playing as a team. So this gaff about, well, I'm gonna hold on for 2 point, getting 2.7, 2 point whatever it is runs per over is not gonna keep you in the team, because that's what you're playing for. Okay, but besides that, I think I think the he's got some his ability. First of all, he's tall, and that helps, which means he gets more bunks. And the other thing is, like you said, he's got very good control. And as long as he's hitting that line and length, which is just short of a good length, with the extra bunk. But here's the other part of it: he bowls both an half cutter and the leg cutter.
And his stock ball is a leg cutter.
That's right. And it's not, you see, the thing about thing, like Basil used to always say, not big swing and big cutters. It's just that slight deviation.
Yes.
Because the big deviation does miss your bat.
Miss the bat.
So the guy, and then he has the one that runs straight into you, you bowl wide. And even that one sometimes would hit and let cut or straighten up. So but it's that length and line that control that he has. And then of course he gets that extra bounce with his height. So he's got, but I don't buy that gaff about I'm gonna do this so that Kamar could express himself. I don't buy that. I think I think that's how he bowls, and that's it.
Yeah, because with Vincent talking about the little bit of sea movement. Go back to a guy like Glenn McGrath, or even the guy was commentated from South Africa, Vernon Philander. They moved the ball exaggerated, but they used to hit a length. And everybody knows as a bowler, you might be aiming for the ball to do something, but when the ball hit the seam and do anything, you can't predict that, right? But if you bowl it on that length as Vincent described, it's either coming in or going away. And that's why a guy like Philander, even though Philander bowled at 130, he used to destroy teams.
I think he got the quickest 50
wicket. 100 or something like that.
Quickest 100 wicket. He slowed down towards the end of his career, but that man used to get a bag full of wickets.
The ball he was almost like a metronome. The ball on a length, and he just hitting there all day. So now you was a batter. You got to decide, am I going to leave? Am I going to play? Because he keeping it in that channel. And just a little nibble in the movement.
And Basil, the thing is, as a batter, remember, you got facing several hundreds of delivery or tens of delivery. So it's just one time you got to make a mistake. Just one time.
Exactly.
So it's just repetitive thing. As long as he keeps it there, and you make the mistake. You got to make the mistake. And you can't continue forever without making a mistake.
And the thing about it, Dr. Hines, you're asking about the batting, right? Or batters. What Vincent just described there, where in our system do our batters be able to face such pressure that would prepare them for when they go up at the top there? Nowhere. I remember Dr. Hines in the last first class season, Guyana playing Barbados, and both Holder and Roach played. And the second new ball, Guyana was cruising. And when Barbados get the second new ball, both Roach and Holder, being test cricketers, they started to bowl that test match line and length. And in no time, Guyana lost 3 wickets before you could say knife. Because the Guyanese batters had never faced that kind of pressure bowling and accuracy. Right? So the minute that was put on them, they crumbled because they have no resource. Because it would be nice. And this is an idea I've heard bandied about, and I agree with it. If there's a way in which West Indies cricket could get bowlers, guys who not looking to play anymore at the highest level, maybe just come off the scene, to bring a few of them and put them in the different first class teams, So our batters gonna be facing professional bowlers, right? That could put pressure on them, right? For me, more than anything else, the batters gotta get fixed because we gotta make runs, right? So that would be something we may need to look into to see if we could get guys from other parts of the world to come and play. You know, they'll be pros in it. Obviously, it's a professional team, but just like county cricket, where you used to get overseas guys, that we try to do some because we ain't getting to go to county cricket like before.
Yeah.
So we got to bring the county cricket to the Caribbean, if you will, and bring in some guys who might no longer looking to play the highest ever or just come off the scene that are still excellent players that can be a serious match for our batters.
Yeah.
I've been drawn to some statistics with Holder. His last couple of test matches, last 8 or 9 test matches, his haul is in single digits.
Yeah. He's struggling to get wickets, Dr. Hines. Struggling.
Yeah, but you see, the problem is, who do you replace Holder with, right? Because remember, he's probably the most, besides Braffett up at the top, Holder is the next most experienced batsman in that team. As a matter of fact, I even said in this second innings, Holder should have come in at number 4. I don't know if we would have make a difference. But when Braffett got out, because you needed, if we had to make that runs, Braffett had to be there. And when Braffett needed an experienced person. And when Braffett got out, I said that I thought that they would have sent Holder at 4 as the next experienced batter.
Guy, yeah.
Because them young players, they got to feel comfortable, you know, to just have two inexperienced batters, you know, wet to the ears, batting there. That's easy picking for the fielding side. Whereas if they've got an experienced batter and hold them at 5th in the 4th inning, and Braffett got out, and Holder comes in, they still got to be worried about, well, okay, we got to deal with Holder as long as he holds up one end and talk to the other batsmen and you know, keep them going. We could still be in trouble. But I mean, it's just a case we're not even using our initiative as far as
No.
But going back to Holder, if you drop Holder,
no, I'm not saying dropping him.
Yeah.
I'm saying pay attention to statistics.
Yeah. No,
I actually look in Holder as more to just be focused on batting.
On batting than bowling,
and we bring in another bowler. And if Holder could come and give me some overs, so be it. But we're no longer seeing him as a bowler.
As a bowler. That's where my head was going, Basil.
We're going to be relying on. So he's playing as in the top 6 as a batter. So you'll be able to bring an extra bowler, and whatever Holder give you as a bowler is icing on the cake.
Right.
That's my thinking in terms of Holder going forward in the West Indies team to be focused more as a batter. And the other thing too, I think the area Holder got to really develop better is being able to bat with the tail. He don't really excel batting, how to shepherd, strike, and those things with the tail. That's a skill in itself as a batter. When you got to bat with the tail, you got to know who you could trust, when you could trust, which bowler. All of these things you calculating in your mind when you're still trying to score.
Two spinners in this test match. I suppose it was because of his border. But apparently it was one spinner too much, no?
Providence.
Providence, one spinner too many.
Yeah, I don't know if it's really too, because South Africa played 2 spinners, and one of them did not bowl at all in the first inning.
In the first, right?
But in the second inning, he contributed.
Two crucial wickets.
You know, because we all know Providence is low and slow, and you know any low and slow wicket in the second inning is gonna be difficult to batter. And if you bowling straight at the stumps, and then the foot marks or whatever the case may be could come into play. So I don't think so. I think it's more a case, in my view, that the captain's rotation of our bowlers, Brathwaite, was not optimum. I think he bowled Joseph too long. I think he bowled Moti too long also. Because you could see Moti tired and Moti started bowling some stupidness. And runs was a premium in this game. So, you know, Joseph running and the next extra over and he started getting the cramps again. You know, I mean, we got to remember Joseph is a fast bowler. That would bowl Joseph 7 straight overs, man. You know?
Basil, you are the physio.
Yes.
Basil, you cannot tell me. I have a problem with Joseph catching cramps, okay? I have something they've got to give him whatever attention they need, people like you. But this guy is, to me, he appears to be young and fit. How could somebody as fit as himself catch cramps like that? I don't understand that.
I think because there's several reasons people could get cramps, right? The obvious one, people talk about electrolytes and all those different things you're losing. And then somebody may lose more electrolytes more than the next one and so on. So a guy like Joseph, so you can be able to solve the issue, is to monitor him very closely, right? To see, because you might gotta get scientific and take samples of his urine as he's going through the day, that you could test to see the electrolytes loss. So you could see, well, okay, when he gets about 5 overs, just about 5 overs, I just saying hypothetically, you see there's a precipitous drop in his electrolytes. So it would tell you that, look, we gotta make sure we fueling up this guy throughout the time he's on the field, that he don't get this drop. And then maybe you monitor how you're gonna do his workload, so you can get the best out of him without him getting a cramp and you lose him for a period of time, rather than him continue to play. And today we have the scientific methods to do so. And what I'm describing there is not no expensive, no 100,000 or nothing. It's basically getting a test and actually testing the guy out in real time, just like what they've done today. These guys wear monitors on their body. They wear like a small vest. So it gives the trainers and so real life how much time, how much miles you have traveled and so on and so forth. So you get a good understanding of what kind of training you would have to do for the player, so the player can be optimal. We got to get high tech.
He's too much of a key player to
get. Of course, that's
yes.
At the wrong time, you know.
And if you look at that 60, that last wicket partnership, just at the time he was going off the field.
That's why I'm saying. I pointed that out, Dr. Heinz. Some people was cussing Brathwaite. I said the man who was more likely to out them was off the field in Shamar. So you can crucify Brathwaite for that too. Where you could probably crucify Brathwaite, that he bowled him too long. Right?
That's right.
You know what I mean? So, you know, I guess Vincent would know this, being a former captain. You're right in the luck. Your bowler. Bowler.
Here, I had the principle that I worked with here. If a bowler is striking, let him go until you really see that he's there. But you gotta let him go, because what happens a lot of times when you bring them back in another spell, they've got that rhythm.
Yes, exactly.
And everything else. And if you move them and you bring them back, it's not the same person. It happens so you gotta let them go.
I mean, and that's a tricky thing. That was a tricky thing for Brathwaite, because both Moti and Joseph are bowling so well. As a captain, you're saying, nah, I can't take these guys off. I look at the wicket. And it's that balance you gotta play. And you know, so that's where you as a captain gotta be in constant communication with the bowler and looking at the bowler, what they're doing and so on. You know, you gotta pay extra attention, especially when it come into the number of overs that you think is where you going over the threshold. So you could, But I feel bad for Brathwaite, because buddy, me too bowlers like that as a captain. You know, the last thing, and you know, Vincent is a competitor. You would want the captain take the ball out to you hand neither.
No.
You want to keep going.
No.
Yeah. Have you
As a
all
matter of
heard
fact,
anything
what
about
them
the?
boys, not to cut you, but
Oh,
as a matter of fact, what them boys used to do,
mhm.
as soon as you know, let me say they bowl and then the other bowler, them boys used to when come to the next over, them boys start walking to the mark.
The mark. Oh, Dr. Hines,
Yes.
I sent you on WhatsApp the T20 squad.
Oh, okay.
I sent it about 15 minutes ago.
Oh, so they've
Yes.
released it.
It
Okay.
came out. It came out this afternoon.
This
Came out
afternoon. Yes. Yeah, it was in a
If you want, I
forum.
could read it off for you.
Please read it. Yes.
Yes, I could read it off for you. Let me get it here for you. Powell captain, Fabian Allen, Alec Athenaze, Rustin Chase, Johnson Charles, Matthew Ford, Shimron Hetmeyer, Shea Hope, Akil Hussein, Shamar Joseph, Obed McCoy, Godakish Moti, Nicholas Puran, Sharfin Rutherford, and Romario Shepard.
Predictable.
So Russell from the World Cup team,
Russell
Russell
done.
not there, and Brandon King, who's still injured. He's
He's
not
still
recovered
injured.
from his injury, right?
Yeah.
What is Mayers in the team there?
No, I want to. That is the question all of us
I
are
was gonna ask you the same question. I don't understand
That
this.
is the question everybody is asking. What is this? What is the issue with Mayers? Because there have not been any release, right? In regards, all we saw was the team, but you know, there's gonna be the release.
Yeah, I don't understand that at
No,
all.
I
do
don't
not
understand. Mayors not in the team, and you pick Carty and Anthony.
Athens and all.
You know what I mean? And I wonder if you bring Fabian Allen because Russell not there. But Fabian Allen is a third left arm spinner. You you already got two in the squad. So
Basil, you need to find out from
You have Chase in there though.
Chase in there. Basil, you need to find out from your sources. There has to be something with Mears. There got to be something.
Yeah,
happening.
I got asked the question. I gotta ask it because I am perplexed that he's not.
I mean, you drop the boy from St. Lucia.
Charles and Mears played the last game he played against South Africa.
You bring in Mears.
And in my view, Mears did a decent job in that game. As he did when he played against South Africa prior to the World Cup. He had a couple good scores batted in those games also.
Yep.
So
Vincent Jordan is reporting it. It looks like Dave Martin died this afternoon.
Oh no!
My condolences. My condolences.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Mr. Martin brought us brought a smile and gave us many a joy.
Yeah. My goodness. Victor Benjamin is asking why Powell is still in the squad.
He's a captain. No, I mean Victor asked a very good question because my argument for the Hetmeyer fans like this, the only way I saw Hetmeyer played in the World Cup is if Powell was not the captain. Because had Powell not been the captain, he would have replaced Powell in the 11. But Powell being captain was a hindrance to Hetmeyer playing. Because there was no other place for Hetmeyer to get into that team, in my view.
Oh boy. West Indies cricket team selection. It's always
I mean, and you know now, Dr. Hines, the coach is the only one picks the team now.
That's what I realize now.
Yeah. We haven't gotten the full mechanics yet, Vincent, but the overall, what we've been told, is the coach will select the team with support from the scouts.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
What craziness.
Right? Now, the question, the president of the board defended the decision and others, stating if you look around the world in professional sports, the head coach has a big say. I heard Johnny Graves, the outgoing CEO. I was on a program with him and he was questioned about that. And he brought up the analogy of Sir Ferguson from Manchester, the great manager, when he found out, Alex Ferguson, yes, when he found out the way cricket teams are selected and the coach don't have a say picking the teams, he was aghast. He said, "Oh, no way, I have to have a big say in the construction of my squad." Now, I per se, I understand that, and I wish had always put since they started with coach to make the coach a lead selector. Because you know why? I want the coach come before the press and give us a rationale for why the team was picked. And then when they lose, we hear again from the Mr. Coach. Not selectors, the coach hiding behind selectors' skirts, so to speak.
No, I agree. I agree, Basil, that the coach should be a key selector, but not the coach himself by himself.
Yeah, I mean, Vincent, as we say in the Caribbean, selection is a very, as all of us know who follow,
absolutely,
is a it is probably the most volatile thing in West Indies cricket, because I heard a reporter, a journalist from I think Australia, New Zealand, when the West Indies team had been selected, he was on the show, Mason show, and he was amused at the vitriol and the back and forth about the selection of a team that was selected a week prior, that this talk was still going on. He said, whereas where we're from, you might have a discussion for a day or on that day, and that's it. But West Indies is a different kettle of fish by virtue because of the environment. All these separate nation states, everybody wants their countryman, and so on. So to leave it in the hands of one person, where is it? What I want to know, how are you going to make this person accountable?
No. One thing I think they got right. I always felt Casey Carty's more suited to Test cricket, and I couldn't understand why he was automatic one-day cricketer when his natural style is more suited to Test cricket. I think they got that.
Yeah, that's true.
He hasn't made plenty
well, now, Dr. Hines, they have him in the T20 team.
No, they have him in the T20. Jesus, Lord, help me. Lord, Jesus. But I love being West Indian. But God, sometimes
you gotta scratch your head.
He's only there because Sammy like him.
Well, not only that, I think Johnson Charles is in there because Sammy.
Yeah.
I don't see any reason for Johnson Charles still being in that seat. Johnson Charles is 35, 36 years old. Johnson Charles, in my view, would not be a part of a team for the next World Cup.
And Basil, he's a liability in the field.
Of course,
he's the biggest liability.
I didn't even get to that part. You beat me to it, Vincent.
He's a liability.
Gentlemen, thank you all very much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'll see you all next week.
Hey, Doc.
Yeah.
Doc, I don't think I tell Basil either. My wife's sister passed away in London.
Oh Lord.
So I gotta head up there. We're heading up there on Tuesday, so I'm gonna be gone for a couple of weeks.
All right. So
you're gonna miss me. I'm coming back on the 28th. What day is that?
The 28th is they're going to be a Tuesday or Wednesday, boy.
Okay, so my first next time with you is going to be that Friday.
Right.
Whatever that Friday is.
We'll do. We're going to get a replacement because I'm promising Victor to bring you on, but every time I get to the point, it's too late. So I'm giving Victor early.
What Victor tell you that you gave him notice too late?
No. Whenever I think about Victor, it's too late.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I want to know what late for Victor. He's a man of leisure.
And if family, real family them in Boston give him hell, telling me I always probably bring on their uncle. But they're warning me. Doctor.
No. I think in this forum, Victor will comport himself. It's not like we in the park or we in the pavilion at the club.
Here, Doc. You gotta make sure that he don't give you his version of his scorebooks.
No, we don't want that. No.
He's got his own.
Yes, unless Victor can provide us a hard copy of the score sheet, we ain't going with none of that.
Victor is your friends. Them what Dave Martin is your friend. Is your friend. Is your friend.
Always that all of us know Victor good. No, this is a constant thing.
So, Victor, you're booked for next Sunday. You're booked for next Sunday. So, if I give you a call on Saturday, it's not a late call. It's a reminder. It's a reminder. All right.
Just one question, Dr. Hines, because you know I've got to do something every other Sunday. So I know if you could do this show next week at 6.
At 6 o'clock to accommodate.
Yes, so good,
yes.
good.
Yes, I thought about that.
The other Sunday we could go 7 o'clock. Like today, every other,
All right.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, we gotta get Victor early too, because Victor's a big man. He's go to bed early.
He's go to bed early. Victor,
Here's the one thing, Doc. Here's the one thing, Doc, and Basil noticed. Victor was probably the fittest person in Guyana, boy. That's one thing.
Victor is closing in on 80, and he's still energetic.
He tell me he used to run from Melanie to Tonga to walk.
Right here, he was crazy.
Yeah. He is my inspiration. I live to his age. I gotta be able to move around just like he.
Watch Victor.
All right,
here. I can tell story out the school. So when Victor been home in the middle of COVID, right? So Victor catch COVID and they send him by Victor said bye. Victor said, Adi, all night I see they carrying out people in bag. He said, me, I am sleeping. Victor, he said, he feel like he ain't sleepy. He get on me. Victor said, I am sleeping.
I call him, man. I get a picture, I get the news, because Les Lambert and me in school, right? So Les call me and tell me how the man there in the hospital, things ain't looking good. I said, what? Benji? So when he pulled through a thing, I call him. I said, bye, Basil. I thought, oh my God.
Yeah, because the whole night they pass in the bed with people in bags.
The cutting edge medication that was available in the States. And he daughter bring it up and he said, that's what saved me, bye.
Victor said, me, I am sleeping. I prefer die from a lack of sleep.
Here, this is the funny one, Victor. Victor get robbed in Guyana there years ago. Victor playing like he's a big boy. I know me buy Victor's always dressed sharp. And he had some gold chain. Victor forget. I know Victor forget that them man don't know he today. This not he living in Guyana. Them buyer know he on the road. He buy some gun and change money and walk out. And 2 motorcycles on the past and thing. Right? Well, I laugh in the newspaper article, Victor said, I held on my chain for dear life.
I hear you talk about Les Lambert there, boy. Where is he?
Les live in Delaware. He's between Delaware and Jersey.
Okay, he was quick. He was part of that.
Oh yeah.
And I think he went on an A or B team.
Yeah, he went on a B team, but his knee.
Yeah.
Because I think if Les knee didn't go out, he would get at least a tour.
Yeah.
Because Les in 1983. I hear Les Bowl with some serious space.
Serious space.
It's 20 odd wickets in that.
Yeah. He was serious. New Amsterdam by, right?
No, Fireridge.
Oh, he's Fireridge. He's Fireridge.
From Benji Village.
Oh, he's from Benji Village.
Benji family, man. Benji family.
Benji family.
Yes, Benji family.
It was Clayton was from New Amsterdam.
Yes, Clayton, yes.
Clayton's from New Amsterdam. Yes. From Fireridge.
Yes.
All right, gentlemen.
All right.
We're going to see you all next week.
All right.
And to you all, the audience, as usual. Quite a sport, and next week we're gonna hope you get better news next week, but we keep on keeping on.
Rude boys gonna get you by degrees. Here comes the West Indies. And when you're facing the generals, nearly every ball is a funeral. And when we batting, brother, go and put your men on the boundary line. And if you give we a liquor, that is merely a hiccup. Look, you win the little battle, you lose the war. It's the same result every time. Everybody sing. Here come the West Indies. Here come the West Indies. Them rude boys gonna get you by degrees. Here come the West Indies. I tell you now, here come the West Indies. Here come the West Indies. Them bad boys gonna bring you to your knees. Here come